Okay, here we are at the second episode of Unstretched. I'm Timothy Hull here with.
Gina Beavers.
Hi, Gina.
Hi, Tim. How's it going? So, how's your Valentine? Well, first of all, it's snowing or it's about to snow like crazy
Yes,
here. So,
Snowpocalypse Part 2. The Winter of Our Discontent. I feel like I'm living in a John Steinbeck novel. John Steinbeck.
we have a crazy hill by us where all the kids go sledding, and they've been able to sled for like a month. Like, I see them after school sledding week after week. Like,
I
it's
mean,
crazy.
that's been a great thing about this winter is I'm a skier and I live right near a ski mountain and I have a season's pass. So most of the winter I've been able to go skiing I like almost pretty much every day or any day that I want to, which has been pretty
Oh,
nice.
that's amazing. I had no idea you were a skier. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
but yeah, I grew up skiing up here in Warwick, and I don't ski at the little mountain anymore because now I'm a big boy. But
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I stopped skiing for like 25 years and just retook it back up not long ago. And it's like riding a bike. I just like got back on and was like carving and
That's
parallel.
amazing.
Nobody's
That's
business.
so cool.
So it makes winter a little bit more agreeable or enjoyable, but I must say at this point in the winter, I am
Mm.
so unbelievably sick of the snow that's never left and is dirty and
Yeah, it's terrible. No, totally. We have to deal with this whole thing. I don't know if it affects you, but we get tickets if we don't clean off our sidewalk fast enough. And
I live very
so,
rural, like so
yeah,
there's no sidewalk
there's,
or anything, but I have
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of driveway that I have to snow blow
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
And with
Yeah.
a big blizzard like this, I have to snow blow like four times a night just to keep
Oh
up
my
with it. So
God.
it's a little exhausting. I'm a little sort of over tired of it. I do think
Uh,
of, you know, I mean, I like, do you remember in Reality Bites when Ethan Hawke picks up the phone and he says, "Welcome to the winter of our discontent"? That's how I answer the phone now when somebody calls me. Um, because
Amazing.
even though that book
Yeah.
actually has like nothing to do with a harsh winter, I think it has to do with
Yeah.
like social mobility. But
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I can tell because, I meditate, which first of all, my meditation schedule is I use the Peloton app, which is
oh,
really sad because like the trainers are actually doing the meditations, which is like, could I be more of a basic bitch? Like
that
using
makes me a
the
little uncomfortable. I feel a little like, yeah, a little weird.
but I can tell because I know I'm in a deep seasonal depression because I just lie flat on my back. I've never meditated like not sitting up, and now I'm just like flat on my back on the floor. Like I can't. I'm just like,
Well,
yeah.
Gina, seasonal disorder is really real. Like I don't
Yeah.
usually have it, but this winter my body has been craving the sun in a way that you crave like chocolate or coffee or cigarettes.
No, I totally get that. And I also think I have it in the summer. Like I get it like when we're inside with the air conditioning on in July and August, I feel the same way. So I think I get like both winter and
Both
summer.
ends of seasonal affect disorder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I can't go outside. I love walking in my neighborhood. Like it's hilly and like I can see the city. And when I can't do that, I'm just like,
Mm.
no, I don't. But it
Yeah, it's
was
hard.
it's hard. It was Valentine's Day last weekend. Did you have a nice Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day was last weekend. Yeah, it was sweet. Like Corey
Yeah.
and I always make each other beautiful little cards. That's sort of the thing that we do. And he made me a wonderful card, which I absolutely adore. And we just had like a casual
Oh,
dinner dinner at home. We're not like big like Valentine's Day people. Like we have to go somewhere or have like a room. I mean, he worked at the gallery all day of that Saturday and then drove up to the country like after that. So I didn't get to see him until like 8 o'clock or something. But
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
what'd you do?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, we went to see Wuthering Heights. It was
Oh
really funny
shit.
because because I had just decided, like, I'm a big Charlie XCX fan. Like, there are aspects of this that are right up my alley. Keith, we're going to see it on Valentine's Day. should we go to the 12:30 or the 4 o'clock? And he was like, let's go to the 12:30 so we can get it over with.
Gee,
So,
you are a basic bitch. My God, going to see Wuthering Heights because of Charlie XCX on Valentine's Day. I don't know. I don't know if I can do this podcast with you.
no, I know. And it was, the other funny thing was I got Keith this card, like at our dispensary, they have greeting cards. And it said like, you know, love is a joint effort, and you put a joint in the card. And
Oh
so
my.
got him this like really powerful joint. He smoked the whole, so I could sort of hear him passing
So
out.
he
And he's
liked
like going,
Wuthering Heights then because he didn't get to watch it.
he was like so stoned. So anyway, that was like pretty par for the course. I don't know. But then I just sort of, I was also enjoying like in the movie theater looking around. It's the suburbs, and I'm seeing like these kind of cool girl high school girls, like the other people at the show. I was like
Like,
curious about
who's
like
there?
who are these freaks? Like
Yeah.
who but yeah, well, I mean, what did you think? I kind of walked out like, it was fine. I mean, I was like, either
Gina,
way.
I am of the camp of
Uh-huh.
people who will not see the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm
yeah. Oh,
like
you haven't seen
boycotting
it.
it. I'm boycotting it like
Oh,
categorically.
I thought you said when you put it down on the list that you would see. Oh,
No,
no.
when I put it down the
Oh,
list, I put it down on the list of topics that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to talk
yeah.
about how I'm not going to see it
Okay.
because I am a diehard Wuthering Heights novel lover, and
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
really. I have
Yeah.
such a strong imagery in my head of what Heathcliff
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like and what
Yeah.
Kathy looks like and what it all
Right.
looks and feels like that I don't want to watch. I've never
Right.
actually seen any Wuthering
And
Heights
yeah.
renditions,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I've seen clips of them, so I sort of know what they
Mhm.
are. But I've really kept the imagery of that very, very close and inside of my heart.
Oh, that's
Uh,
really cool and admirable.
do you,
Like I,
yeah. Do
yeah.
you remember Lila Pedro, who is a director at Boski? Did you ever work with her?
I don't think so. Yeah.
She
No.
she and I have like a Wuthering Heights like discourse a lot because
Mm.
the book is also very like close to her, and I've developed lots of different like Wuthering Heights friendships with people
Oh,
over the
that's so cool.
years
Yeah.
because it's actually a very important book to me, and I have a whole sort of cosmology world theory based on romance regarding like either you're a Wuthering Heights romantic or you're a like Jane Austen um, Pride and Prejudice romantic person.
Mm.
Um, and that there's like the two are sort of like these diametrically opposed. You know, if you want to get into
Mhm.
like dialectics of it, like
Mhm.
Wuthering Heights, you know, if you're like a Bronte romantic, you're like love at all costs. Like love is the end all be all. Like love is romance, love is death, love is digging up a dead body because you miss it so much, right? Like that's like
Mhm.
Bronte. But then Jane Austen's idea of love is like, you know, sense and sensibility. Like, is this a fitting kind of romance? Do I not just love the person, but does it like, you know, fulfill me in sort of realistic or substantial ways? And so I feel like when we're growing up, a lot of us take sort of one mantle up or the other, like what kind of like view of romance we have. And for
Yeah.
years, I was like a Wuthering Heights kind of like romantic person, like because I read the book when I was in high school, and I was like, oh my God, I'm Kathy, and I love Heathcliff, and you know, I understood that love, and I was into Morrissey and this, you know, the Smiths and the Cure, and all that kind of like unrequited romantic stuff. And so I was like, love has to be like Wuthering Heights.
Mhm.
But I also love Jane Austen because I was like, oh, I love that sort of more like romance and manners. And
Mhm.
so I've like, my life has always been like a battle of like sort of one or the other. Like, but I found that with my own personal life and romance that I actually was able to live the dialectic and sort of hold the tension of the opposites and have a little bit of both in
Both.
my it's like
Yeah.
you know like one or the other is not really all that healthy, I don't think.
Yeah, no, right. I think the Wuthering Heights one is sort of the doomed, because I mean I or at least I feel like that I related the most when I was younger to that kind of like just all or nothing and fuck every other part of my life, you know,
Yeah.
for this person or something. And then as you get older, you're like, but yeah, sustaining something is different. I don't know. But yeah, I think you're right. Like both. I mean, I'm very much a Henry James person.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love like Portrait of a Lady. I mean, but that's the talk about a doomed love. That's just this very quiet, like, thing that can never be, but like, yeah. So, yeah.
When I was just traveling in Italy this in May, I was reading The American by Henry James because
Oh, yeah.
I like the idea because I was going to London and I was going to Italy in May because I had gotten a grant to go to London and do some research, which is amazing. I'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, if I'm going to London, I want to read Henry James. So Corey
Yeah.
said, oh, you should read The American while you're there. And so that sort of kept me occupied as my book.
Yeah. I just love the like finally observe like human nature. Like I just can't get over all the different ways he dissects people. It's like so good. But yeah, so the movie itself leaves
Yeah.
out the entire part after she dies.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Well, I
it's just
hear there's a lot of gaps. I mean, it's gotten
yeah,
terrible reviews like
yeah,
across the board. I don't think
yeah,
anyone has
yeah,
liked it at all.
yeah,
I mean, so
yeah,
that's another reason I'm not interested in hearing it. But were
yeah.
you disappointed or like how do you feel after
I
seeing
mean,
it?
I think that like the director did a lot of things that are very similar to like Bridgerton. It's like give credit to Shonda Rhimes because Shonda Rhimes does like, blind casting and this pop music in these kind of period pieces and like it took a lot from that. Although of course like it's not blind casting when it comes to the two leads or not even blind. I mean, it's not blind. Heathcliff, I feel like, did not look like Heathcliff should probably, he's like an Australian guy, like a
I
white
think
guy.
Heathcliff is in my mind because he in the
Yeah.
book he's described as like a sort of dark, swarthy gypsy kind of character. So I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
think of him as like, in my
Yeah.
fantasy, like this sort of like Neapolitan, sort of
Yes.
rough,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
something,
yeah.
very dark and sexy in that way, not
Yeah,
Jake
yeah, yeah.
Short. Like that's not.
No, no, I know. It's not
I think
yeah, and I what? Sorry.
Emily Bronte would be like, that is not what I wrote.
Exactly. Well, and then she was also, I mean, I feel terrible as a feminist saying this, but I think that she's too old to play that part. Like she's like 35 and it works fine when she's like Miss Linton and she's, sort of a settled lady. But when she's like young, I mean, they're children together. Why would she be 10 years older than him? Like
Yeah. Well,
it's
I
just
did
like,
read that there were a lot of anachronisms just sort of
yeah,
in the film itself or things
yeah,
didn't really
yeah,
add up. And it's like, don't why did they even bother trying? It's like tell
yeah,
us a new story. Go give
yeah.
us something new. Like there's so much
No,
recycling
true.
in the culture now of like, oh, let's do another
Right,
Marvel film or oh, let's do
right.
another rendition of Wuthering Heights or something. It's like,
I
or
know, I know.
I don't know. There's so many people out there writing new stuff with new ideas. Give us
I
something new.
know, I know. It's like, why? I know. I mean, I think that Margot Robbie did a good job as an actress, like, in the role. And so, probably from the actor's perspective, it's like, yeah, I want to do like classic literature.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It
I
was
like the
fun.
idea of like I like the I mean I like the idea of you're saying there's like pop music in it. I think that that's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. Like
And that album, it's like a 30-minute or Charlie XCX, like, the music, you can listen to it as like
yeah.
one thing and it's great. It's good.
I mean
Yeah.
talk about like a music driven thing like TV or media is I recently was watching the Ryan Murphy JFK Jr. love story
Yes.
and
Okay,
that's
cool.
and it's really beautiful because JFK Jr. was like the most gorgeous man who ever lived, and Catherine Bassett is gorgeous too, and the fashion is
Yeah.
so good. But the music in it, they must have
Yeah.
spent tens of millions of dollars on the music because it's just one after another, like all the hits of the early 90s, like
Oh, wow.
from hip hop hits to, indie stuff. Like it's just, Cocteau Twins, Salt and Pepper, like everybody,
Oh my
everything
God.
you loved in like the early mid 90s is in that TV show soundtrack. So like just that alone is super enjoyable.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that. Definitely. We've been watching Industry. Have you ever watched Industry?
I
That's the
know that.
HBO. Yeah, it's the HBO show that's sort of like about high finance. Like it's
Oh, is
like,
Max Minghella in that?
um,
I think Max Minghella is in that. I love him. I knew him
oh,
way back in like the Misshapes days, and we were kind of friendly. And I really, really quite enjoyed him in just in
Max
general.
Minghella. Wait, why do I not? I'm looking him up right now.
His father was big director, did The English Patient.
Um, oh wait, he is this season. He's kind of the
Yeah.
bad guy. He's a
Oh,
real
is he
bad
the
guy.
bad guy? Oh, just love him though.
Yeah. But it's so other seasons like I watch it, it's got a lot of finance stuff in it that I don't understand, but the music is really cool and like the actor, especially the actresses are like amazing. Um this season they've taken a turn. So they've other seasons they're kind of, it's like stabbing in the back, all those sort of like Wall Street type like
Like
tropes, right?
Succession, it sounds sort of like it's like a redux of Succession.
It is a little bit like Succession
Yeah.
crossed with like Wall Street, the movie, like this kind of like we're stabbing each other in the back. This is all legal technically, but we're pulling all these like fast ones on each other. This season, they've tapped into like a criminal underworld, which is very reminiscent of like an Epstein. There's a lot
Mm.
of compromise and like compromising videos that is keeping people in line. And it's like so terrifying. Like there's like terror, almost like a horror, like just this current undercurrent of like terror as you watch it, like what it would feel, what it would feel like, how you would get trapped. And I don't know.
Gina, I don't know if my nervous system can handle that. This
I know. It's
like
honestly,
I don't know if I could go there with that
yeah,
kind.
it's pretty crazy. The other thing we were watching is Neighbors, which is like a documentary type thing about neighbors who fight, who take each other to court over different things.
Again, I
That
don't think my nervous system could handle
I
that.
know Keith's like dying while we're watching it, but you would not believe the level of Americana, like the kinds of crazy things that people are into, the different conspiracy theories, the way they decorate their home. Like it's just the snapshot of like why we're so nuts. Like it's like
That's sort of why I don't think my nervous system could handle it
we
because
don't
it's
need
like
any more of
too
that.
it's
Yeah.
too real. Like, and
Yeah.
especially like where you live or where I live, where we really do have neighbors who we have to kind of our
Yeah.
property lines interact with them, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty lucky that like I live in a sort of rural area, but I do have a bunch of neighbors, and some of them are very kind of like Trumpy type, and
Hmm.
some of them are
Hmm.
very like live off the land, libertarian types. And I have like a art school ceramics teacher, liberal type. Like I've got them sort of all around me, and I do actually get along with all of them, and I feel really thankful for that.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, we get along with most of our neighbors are great. I mean, we're 30 minutes from the city, but we do have like a one person who's has opposing signs and like his kids
Yeah.
all go to private school, even though there's like the best public schools here. Like I don't know. He's very shady. But yeah, a lot of these conflicts are over like there's one over like a private what part of the beach is private beach, what part is public beach, and like policing each other on the beach. There's a neighborhood in Indiana where a guy is starting a farm on his property, which I mean, I think their houses are closer, more like us, a little bit more somewhere between your where you live and where we live, where
Yeah.
you're a little bit close to have somebody starting a full-fledged farm like at your corner with all of the chicken shit and like all of the anyway, these kinds of like battles yeah.
Well, and you and I are like, and I'm like an hour away from, I'm like an hour north of you. So you're like a half an
Yeah.
hour north of the city, and then I'm an
Yeah.
hour and a half north of the city. So
Oh,
like,
oh yeah. Well, I'm half an hour west. So
yeah,
then you're like an hour, yeah.
I'm like
Like
an hour northwest of you, or
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
sort of that. But so it's interesting that the like in my area we have all different types of people because it sort of is in this weird ex-urban sort of rural area. So
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
interesting, but that's what I love about it because I find like there's just very diverse opinions and views actually. And like I said, my neighbors are all different political and type persuasions, but I actually get along with them all. And even my one neighbor who's like had Trump signs out and everything, he's
Mhm.
like the most helpful guy and has helped me with like, move stuff and cut down trees and like, do a lot of, house part, property related stuff. And so I try to also never really talk about politics up where
Yeah.
I live because I'm just like, let's just try to exist in a world where we're just doing our own thing, you
Right,
know?
right. I mean, that's how you have to, for
So
sure.
speaking of doing our own thing,
Yeah.
Gina, like what have you been up to like in your art recently that's just doing your own thing?
Yeah, well, this week I was supposed to work on this video so I got this Creative Capital grant, which we had been talking about, like, that deadline is coming up for next year, and Creative Capital will give you up to $50,000 over 2 years to complete, a project across, visual arts, performance, music,
Do you have to apply for something specifically? Like this
like a
is exactly what I want to do.
like a
This is the
project.
outcome. Like this is a
Yeah.
specific. Okay.
Yeah,
So
like a project.
what was your specific project? A
So
video?
mine was comfort core paintings, which are these kind of 3D sculptural paintings based on the collages based on consumer goods that have been advertised to me online, and sheets, towels, blankets, like these kind of like that was the project. But one cool thing that I mean, they do lots of cool things, but one thing is they have this thing over the summer where they invite 300, 250 people from across the arts, whether they're producers or curators and they screen for them these 2-minute videos of our projects. So I have to do a 2-minute video of my project proposal. So it's like this week I was like, I'm working on that. And then it's like, no, I'm getting sucked into a painting all week. So I had to
Like a
get
2 minute video, like showing your process or how you've sort of developed the idea. Like, what is the 2 minute video supposed to sort of
it's
show?
really like a pitch. It's like a pitch for your project that you're going to do with Creative Capital.
But
So that,
but are
the
they
curate.
expecting you to have like, within that year completed like 5 paintings, like,
No, yeah. I mean, it's still really early. So it's like they don't want you to even really be close to finishing. You might not even have works in the video. Like, it's like you just have to
okay.
get kind of creative with it. So, but it's kind of a cool thing because then they screen it. And so curators from like all over are going to see your video and be like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we want to show this at our institution. It's all institutional people. It's like no gallery people or anything. Um, Anyway, but yeah, that's what I was supposed to work on. Instead, I got sucked into the like using very thick oil paint on a very large and complicated piece. So I'm like, what am I
Painted
doing?
in acrylic. You were painting in oil paint.
Well, I've been painting in oil on top of different materials for a while. And I was
Okay.
like, what if I just use the oil with like, an impasto medium? So
All
I've
right.
been
Like the
making like
wax
a
medium.
Yeah, so well, not the wax actually, like a different actually the one I'm using is called schmaltz, which I think is really funny. I don't know if you've ever seen,
Alts.
but they just have tons of tubes of it at my art store. So I started
Oh,
using it and extends the paint basically. So I've just
okay.
been like working on that. It's like very intricate and like I don't know, but I'm very into it. So we'll
I
see.
really liked using wax medium. I used to sometimes to get a good impasto, would put like wax medium in the oil paint, but
Yeah.
I usually just let the oil paint be its own sort of thick medium.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like that too. I want to use the wax. I just it's more expensive. I'm trying to like be budget. I mean, in this art market,
Yeah.
I can't afford to use like matte wax like
Yeah,
the
I
way
mean
that
it's
I would want to.
I was thinking of stretching a new canvas and I was gonna go on and buy like aluminum like Trimar canvas stretcher bars and I was like putting together the order, and I was like, I actually can't afford this. Like, this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little, like a little too much of like a initial investment. So I
Mhm.
just unstretched an old canvas
Yeah.
to be able to have like a new substrate. And so it's interesting about, actually, I just sort of used the word, like the title of our podcast,
Yeah.
unstretched,
Yeah.
because I never work unstretched. Like I
Mhm.
don't like buy like a
Mhm.
raw canvas and like just pin
Mhm.
it up and
Yeah.
then stretch it on. Like I
Mhm.
always stretch the canvas on the bars, and then
Mhm.
I paint. And I only unstretch when I'm like, okay, this painting, I don't want to destroy it, but
Mhm.
I don't want it on these bars anymore. And so I will either destroy a painting, because I destroy paintings all the time. Like I'll work on a painting for 3-4 months and just say, this is not working and it has too much impasto on it. Like I can't
Mhm.
reuse the canvas anymore, that I'll just like fontan it and I'll slash it. And just like rip the whole thing apart and unstretch it and then start anew. So for me, the title Unstretched is more of like a strike a match and start a new kind of feeling. Like,
Mhm.
I've like unstretched a canvas so I can restart on something new. And also the idea of like, when I think about the word unstretched, I don't think about it as actually being like tight. I oddly think about it being like loose,
Mhm.
because, a stretched is really like, which is funny because you stretch before you go running or something to loosen up.
Mhm.
But I think of when a canvas is stretched, it's really like taut and hard. But when
Mhm.
it's unstretched, it's like loose and sort of ready to go.
Mhm.
Uh, and so I
Yeah.
think that there's something sort of casual and fun about that, which when I was thinking of, unstretched, I'm like, oh, that sort of works and makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That's what I liked about the title for the podcast was like kind of reflecting this looseness of because I don't really right now I'm just working on panel. There's no
But didn't you used to stretch on panel? I feel like I remember you
yeah.
used to like take like linen and stretch it over a panel.
Yeah,
Is that
I've
right?
done different things, but I realize over time the more surface you put on it, especially if it gets heavy, there's no point if there's going to be a panel behind it, like there's no point in actually having linen or canvas because it's just pulling that weight off.
So
I
then
mean,
why did you originally stretch it with like canvas or linen first?
well, I was just like trying to be in the world of painting. Like I wanted it. So I started with just like canvas over stretcher bars, then eventually went to panel with canvas, and then eventually linen over panel. And then on the really big ones, all those edges are just like dummy edges. Like I just stretch the edge and staple it in the middle of the front pan, and then because I push
Wow.
so much crap over it that it's like it doesn't serve any. There's no point in having a canvas, you know?
That's what I mean, I'd often wondered that about your work like that.
Yeah.
Like I would think it would like pull the canvas like
Yeah.
down
So
off of
there's
the,
no,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
So I guess,
but I understand the sort of like painting hierarchy of like on canvas. Like, oh, if I'm painting, it's got to be
hmm
done on canvas. And I often tell my students, because I have sometimes taught like in more advanced painting classes, and one of the things I always try to get them to do is like make a painting that's not on canvas. Like
hmm
how do we like use like I borrow from Project Runway or the idea of the unconventional materials challenge,
yes, I love that.
where I'm like, how, like, make a painting using anything but
hmm
paint and traditional materials. So I'm like,
hmm
use ketchup, use like coffee staining, whatever, use mud, use, like urine, like
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
like
yeah.
anything you can use as like a painting medium that isn't in the traditional canon of painting medium. And they always come up with like, and these aren't generally like funky art students, but they always come up with something really telling and sort of provocative and evocative from from the sort of like unconventional materials challenge.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like an amazing, I'm sure. It's like, it's just removing that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Um, but I think that for a long time I didn't, well, I was broke as a student. So like buying canvas and stretcher bars versus just painting on paper, like heavy acrylic, I would just like use a paper. Um, but I also think like, yeah, I didn't want, I don't know. I always felt like painting on a canvas was like painting something that had been in your grandmother's, like a piece of furniture that was in your grandmother's house for like 100 years and like it was never yours. Like you could paint over it, put your own little spin on it, but it didn't belong to you. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like something like kind of perverse about not wanting for a long time when I was younger, not wanting to work on canvas at all, just working on paper, just being like, ew, like it feels so stodgy and like academic.
When I was an undergraduate, I inherited like 10 stretched canvases that this artist had painted, and he had gone to like SUNY Purchase, had gotten a BFA, did a whole like body of work, and then got and tried to be an artist in New York, and then got like really disillusioned and went to like be in the Peace Corps and decided to like quit being an artist. And he was a neighbor of mine, of my family's upstate, and his mom was like, "Oh, he doesn't need these canvases anymore. You can just have them all." And so I just painted over, like I gessoed over all of this guy's like, 5 years of like undergraduate work, and
Yeah.
did all new paintings over them, and I
Uh,
used those to apply to graduate school
oh
with.
my
So
God,
like,
that's amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
so like
so
it's just
amazing.
funny how like you got to do what you got to do. Like I couldn't afford like 10
Yeah.
canvases, so like I had to take this guy's like sloppy bad canvases and like gesso over them and like and make something, alchemize it and make something new out of it.
Yeah, it's so
And
cool.
those are the days applying to grad school. You had to do like the slides, actually
God, what a
build a
nightmare.
slide carousel, like send an actual
That silver
slide
tape.
carousel.
Yeah. The silver tape. Do you remember
Yeah.
the silver
Yeah.
tape?
All
Like
the rules
all
of
the
like, oh, it
cropping
has
you had to
to
do.
be, yeah.
It was so insane with these tiny little things. Like you're shaking with this like little slide. Like, yeah, no, I worked at a sandwich shop in Charlottesville after school and I would take all the cardboard boxes. So all
Mm.
my pieces were like pieced together cardboard. Like that's what I applied to grad school with, were these like kind of like torn and like very like expressionistic kinds of like figures on cardboard pieced together with like wire and sounds very 90s actually when I'm describing it.
Dude, I had this student who was about as eccentric as they get. And this student refused to buy art supplies for the class because they were like, I'm not like I don't want to buy new supplies. I can't afford it. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
waste like, the supplies, or they just had this like sort of weird manifesto about it that they weren't going to buy supplies. And I said, well, you have two choices. Either you're going to like fail the class because you can't
Mhm.
make any artwork or deliverables, or you have to scrounge and make art supplies. And so they did. They actually would like go into the garbage and like pull out like receipts or candy wrappers and like make art on those or with those things, or like find like a broken pencil and like, and they did the whole semester, and I had to give them credit because I was like, you're actually being way more resourceful and creative with all these weird found pieces of freaking garbage that you're working with. They also wore sunglasses the whole time in class because they said they were photosensitive to
Oh,
like the
okay.
overhead
Yeah.
lighting. And they
Okay.
also were like an interesting sort of pan gender.
Mm.
Like they were
Mhm.
really like a person from the
Mhm.
far future who like came into my class with a weird message of like how everything is totally possible.
Yeah. Well, sounds
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
about teaching at like a big public college is like I really get all different types, like
oh
all.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. No, definitely. That reminded me of Jeff Tranchell. Do you remember Jeff? He's in
Yeah.
Detroit now. Yeah. Because he had his work that he was making a while ago now, but using stickers off of fruit
Oh, I love
stickers,
that.
everything had to be sort of found. It was like it all had to be, which, I I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, like there seemed to be more, didn't the new museum have a show that was like oh God, what was it called? But it was all found or garbage, or it was kind of the reduced or the
Yeah. Well,
um
that's also dovetails into what I was talking about of my project I give the students of like unconventional materials. Like
yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah.
like
That's a good
instead of buying into the art
hmm
industrial complex of like,
right.
Trimar aluminum stretcher bars and like
Yeah.
fancy canvas and everything, like why don't
Yeah.
you just paint on like a refrigerator door that you found like on the corner in the Bronx?
Yeah, totally. No, I think it's so cool. Like the David Hammonds of it
And
all.
it's liberating for a lot of students to
Yeah,
be like, oh, I can paint on a refrigerator door and that can be accepted as art.
totally. That's
You
really
know?
important for them to, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. No, I have to admit though too, like as I started working on this like new or this I'm this experiment with this new way of working, I'm just like walking around the art store like what can I buy? Like there's something about being in an art store and like touching all the different stuff and like scoping out where I'm like buying stuff gets me like juice to make a which just sucks, but or even going to the paper section and being like, oh, these paper, but it's like the being around the stuff first, like kind of, I don't
Do you
know.
remember the paper section at New York Central? Do you remember New York
Oh
Central Art Supply?
God.
Like on in the East
Oh
Village?
yeah.
I went to NYU, and so that was
That's
like where
cool.
we basically had to go to get
Yeah.
everything. And they were the meanest people. My God, like I would be so nervous to go in there because if you didn't know exactly what you wanted, they would like yell at you. They were like the soup Nazi of paper. Um, but I remember I took a book, like a book arts class with Carson Fox at NYU, and we had to make all of these books handmade different types, and so we had to spend like hours at New York Central poring over the most incredible papers to like make these little artist books, and it was so amazing.
So good. Yeah, but I love, yeah, the whole display. You'd like flip through it was just amazing. But I do remember the vibe from the people that worked there. Are we
All the
losing
art
that?
stores people were assholes. Like at Pearl Paint down in Canal Street, like I was also always terrified to ask like a question because they'd look at me like, well, you're an artist, you don't know the difference between this medium and that medium. I'm like, no, that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, totally. No, it's definitely a different vibe at my art store, which was called Jerry's Artist Outlet. It's now called Jerry's Artorama. But when I had
I
asked, like, when it used to be Jerry's Artist Outlet, I was like, is this related to the Jerry's Artorama? And they were like, no, the owner thought it sounded too much like Fodorama. So we just call it Jerry's Artist Outlet. I was like, okay, I'm not like in New York anymore. Like, what is this? Like, oh my God.
There
But
was a
yeah,
Artorama in Manhattan at some point, I think.
yeah, Jerry's. Now they sort of call it Jerry's.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to have a Dick Blick. Remember, it used to be Dick Blick.
Oh yeah. Well, it was Utrecht also. It was like Utrecht. I
Yeah,
mean,
you correct.
there was such a better environment of art stores in the city. I mean, you could
Yeah,
if
so
they
more.
didn't have it at Utrecht, you could go to Dick Blick, then you could go to
Yeah,
New York Central, then you could go to Williamsburg Arts and Supply. Like there were
yeah,
so
totally.
many.
No, I was the Dick thing. Sorry to always bring it back. Like, what is Gina's deal? She's always like bringing back this. No, but I had an apron when I was teaching middle school in Brooklyn that said Dick Blick, and I had to eventually retire it because the kids would like go
Freak
nuts.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over the word dick on my.
Well, my dad's name is Richard, and the
Oh
nickname for
yeah,
Richard is Dick, and so
yeah,
everyone always called my dad Dick, like oh Dick Hall.
yeah, yeah.
But all my friends or my brother's friends growing up, like could not like handle that. They just couldn't
Yeah.
handle like my dad's name was Dick. Like it was like
Yeah, yeah,
too
yeah.
much.
Yeah. That's one of those things that's kind of, yeah, going out, I guess.
I'm like,
Because they
what's wrong
rebrand
with
like
Dick? Dick is great. Everyone loves Dick. Come on.
exactly. Yeah, no. Yeah. Yes. Um, yeah, so any controversies? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest controversy du jour is the use of AI in our podcast image on
We
Spotify and
almost
Apple.
got canceled before we even posted a podcast
Heavy cancellation going
because
on.
we
It
used
is amazing how when you do something public it does
Yeah.
bring out trolls, you know, people
Yeah.
who they just want to be like, I disapprove of what you're doing, or you're doing
Right.
this wrong, or how dare you do this.
Yeah.
And that is kind of shocking to sort of be confronted with someone who wants to be so sort of angry and negative right off the bat.
Yeah. So
Um,
this is because obviously our image for our podcast is AI. And I was thinking about the whole process went into making that image, which is, let's be frank, not a lot of work. We didn't, we both immediately first, neither one of us questioned using AI. We were both just like, I think also just getting ideas, like fucking around on our phones, sending each other things. But the process we went through trying with our differing aesthetic sensibilities, trying to find one that we agreed on. Could you imagine if we had gotten out like the scissors and the glue and tried to make our own?
I mean, that in theory that would have been fun, but you're right. But we're both artists, and we have similar but also very different aesthetics,
Yeah.
and I feel like we wanted to find like something that was sort of more like neutral and weird. But
Yeah.
I also have no problem using AI for a number of different
Mhm.
activities or needs, because it's a technology that's available. It's a technology that's growing. It's a technology that we have to learn to use and understand. I go through this. I teach college at CUNY Lehman College, and I talk to my students almost every class about the uses of AI, or how we could be, how I don't think it's going to put artists out of business. In fact, I think
Mhm.
artists need to learn how to use it and what the right applications of it are. And I feel like being a Luddite about it is going to set you back. And I feel like
Mhm.
it's very, it's like the people who are really freaking out about our use of the AI image. The comment I wanted to make back to them was, are you the kind of person who, wanted to destroy the printing press when it was first invented? Like, sure, these things are disruptive and they're scary and they're
Mhm.
crazy and we don't know how they're going to affect us, but you can't fight against it in the way that like it's like a wave, it's like a tsunami of a new technology that you have to learn how to adapt to it and
Mhm.
understand it and use it, so you're not like either left behind or
Mhm.
irrelevant, or you've got to sort of move with the times, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I had a little bit of a sense that, like, oh, it could be weird because I think that a lot of artists are sensitive to the idea that the AIs are stealing their output, like they're feeding in people's work into the AI and then it's pumping out, which I totally get. I think also devastating for like writers. Like I was listening to this podcast with this journalist and he wrote an entire book, researched, for years, and the AI just like gobbles it up and puts the information out there as though, you know, that kind of thing. Like I understand that, but I also think that like that doesn't mean that everything that you're pulling from an AI, a visual thing like that, is going to be ripped off from. A lot of these tools have been around for decades in terms of like, I was using apps like 15 years ago where you could upload a photo and then it would turn it into a painting. Like some of
Yeah,
this
I remember.
technology. So this idea that everything isn't automatically stolen, I don't think that that's true. And I also think like for us, we would not have even gotten the podcast up if we had taken the time between figuring out what we wanted it to be to actually creating it. We would be weeks and weeks away from actually getting it out there. I think partly why we did it in term like for expediency. It was like a fast,
Well, it's
like
also a placeholder because we do plan on having something
on
more
changing it. Yeah. But
permanent eventually. But
yeah, the other critique was like it's slop, which is like, okay, but like slop also has, I mean, the context of the slop. Does the fact that the slop is being used to like promote like an art podcast is that okay? That's better than the slop that like Trump posted of shitting on Americans or whatever.
yeah, no,
Whatever,
but
you know.
totally. But slop is also like a aspect of our culture right now. So instead of sticking your head in the sand and being like, "Oh, I can't see your
Yeah.
deal with
Yeah.
slop. It's like, no, actually, why don't we harness slop and make it
Yeah.
interesting, or use it in a positive way as a vehicle towards something better?
Right. It doesn't the context matter a little bit? Like, or is it just like slop? And also the minute you say something slop, you know that artists are going to go along and like turn that into something cool. Like
Yeah,
artists are,
exactly.
the minute you say this is bad art or this is a hated image or influence, people are going to go right to that source and exploit, and use it for things. So like, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, to be, yeah.
We're now like controversial, but anytime you had said to me, like, if we're going public, there's going to be something that we're saying that somebody doesn't like, or
Yeah.
that they have a problem with, and that's just the
Yeah.
reality of the society we live in too, where everyone's a critic. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love the idea that everyone is a critic. But
Hmm.
the other thing is that people are so critical of everything, but it also feels like no one's really critical of art anymore. I feel
Hmm.
like art criticism is like, really leveled out. It's kind of disappeared. It's like
Hmm.
people in the art world are all like, no, their artwork is good because they're a good person. Like, oh, don't you love
Hmm.
so and so? They're so great.
Hmm.
That's.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, but their art sucks. Like, why are you giving them all these shows or opportunities? And so I feel like maybe in the art world we could use a little bit more critical discourse in general.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
I don't know. I mean, I think part of it's so easily undermined. Like to have a really critical viewpoint means really sticking to a certain perspective of the way that art should be. And I think
yeah,
we live in a time with such diverse like types of art, whether, medium wise, painting, we have like painting proliferating in all different directions at all times. It's like, how do you really wrestle with what's good? And I think that people are just overwhelmed. And then the big critique becomes either it's like not political enough or too political, or it becomes like money, like, oh, that's just money. Oh, that's just printing money. It's like a cynical take on like that work sucks, but it makes money, so it's like those are the two critiques kind of, and we don't really have a structure for like the way that we used to think about critique. I mean,
well, and social media has sort of changed it so much too, in that like of course social media is so two dimensional, so it
mhm,
favors sort of painting and those more two dimensional mediums, and so you just go on there and you're just like, it's this end, especially if the algorithm knows you're into art and painting and stuff, it's just
mhm,
like this endless scroll of like what looks like slop painting. It all sort
mhm,
of looks the same, and but you think like, oh, this person must be so successful, they might be having all these shows or something, but like it just, there's something about social media that just makes it feel like it's all oriented towards consuming an image over and over
mhm.
again.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes
Yeah, I
me
mean,
question the reality right now of social media, the efficacy of social media as like a tool for artists to show their work, advance their career. I'm really questioning if it really has any value anymore for us.
yeah. I mean, I think that I think you have to be on social media. I do think that like it's there, but yeah, the algorithm has shifted everything too. And I have to say, like, I started the Unstretched Instagram and then I have my Instagram. I enjoy the Unstretched Instagram so much more because I'm actually seeing art. On my feed, I don't see art. I see like cat videos. I see, like, I don't see I see very little art. And
Yeah.
then on the Unstretched, I'm seeing like lots of artists and their studios. I saw like shows, downtown shows that I would love to go to, but like they never come through my feed. And I don't
Wow.
know, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know
Well,
what
it's interesting that our Unstretched podcast Instagram page has actually gotten a lot of really positive feedback. I feel
Mhm.
like I haven't been posting onto it yet, sort of what you've been doing, but I've been getting a lot of people messaging me privately or telling me they're like, "Oh, I love the Instagram page for your podcast. It feels new and refreshing and different." Because I guess we're not just like posting this same kind of or relevant to
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Right,
And
what we're talking about. And we're posting
yeah.
about other people too. And it's not a commercial enterprise in any way. Like it's not, we're not like a gallery posting about shows that's hoping to
Oh,
like sell stuff, you know? So it's like kind of falling into this like category of innocuous and like kind of refreshing maybe because we're just trying to blow people, you know, people we talked about, like go find their stuff or go follow them or, you know.
because I feel like in Instagram in general, like I personally, like I haven't gotten any art opportunity from Instagram in like
Hmm.
5 years, 5 or 8 years. Like I feel
Yeah, that's interesting.
like
Yeah.
back like in like 2014,
Hmm.
2015, I used to get
Hmm.
people on Instagram who are like curators or other
Hmm.
gallerists or
Right, right, right,
writers or whatever who are like, oh, I just discovered your work, or oh,
right,
you know, like I'm doing this show, you should be in it, like or even
right,
collectors being like, oh, I just saw your work on Instagram, I want to buy that painting.
right, right.
That has not happened to me in like a very long time. So
Yeah.
I often feel like I'm posting like an image of my work to Instagram and it's just
Hmm.
like going into the void,
Yeah.
and no one's, you know, it's getting like 100 likes or something, or in like 3 comments, and I'm like, wow, did anyone see this? Does anyone care? Like, why?
Right,
You
right.
know, and I have like, you know, anytime I make a story or post to Instagram, I only have like 5 people who like comment on it or like it.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's like it's almost like my little ride or die group, which is like, you
Uh-huh.
know, I
Yeah.
know Tian Davies going to comment on it. I know Jennifer Sullivan's going to comment. I know Jeremy DePrez is going to comment. I know Gina Beavers is going to like it. But there's like 4 people who
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah. No, I think, I mean, it's hard to know like which came first, like the art world kind of taking this downturn and like the lack of kind, because I definitely feel like I'm putting it out there to other artists at this point. Like there's not a ton of like business people, collectors, things like that, like, you know, engaging at all. It's really just to other artists at this point. So that aspect, and it could just be a personal thing in terms of both of our work. I
No,
don't
I
know.
agree. I feel like my
But
Instagram is totally just for art, for other
just for
artists. Not,
other, but it also could be a reflection of like it not playing the same role among those people, or the fact that the art market is so, people are like running for the hills and don't know what to do, you know, like, so it's not engaging in the same way. um I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
but I feel like we're at a point where it's like, well, what's next? Is there something next? Like, you
Mhm.
know, like it, because it feels like though Instagram now has been with us like 15 years. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
see, like, I don't know what could be the next kind of like format. Like, and I, you know, I have
Mhm.
like an artist website, but I also feel
Mhm.
like, does anyone look at artist
Mhm.
websites anymore? Like, I don't, the traffic
Yeah,
on my website is like sort of
yeah.
negligible, or no one's written to me and said, oh, I went to your
Mhm.
website and I really like this work and I want to
Mhm.
discuss more about it. You know, like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, do people consume website? Like, do you have a website? You must, right?
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
I actually just reminded me that I have to renew it, and Squarespace is now $275.
Me too. Mine's Squarespace, and it just like renewed,
Yeah,
and it was like two hundred
yeah,
dollars, and I was really
yeah,
questioning, like, what am I, what am I
yeah.
paying this? Like, is this just like, is this again like an old fashioned thing? It's like that I
Yeah,
have this website that no
yeah.
one looks at and it isn't relevant, and like, but I also don't. I'm not represented by a gallery right now, and
Mhm.
so there is no.
Yeah,
Um,
right. You want to
good
have
place on the web
something.
to see my work. Like, you could always say to someone, "Oh, go to Boski Gallery and look at, you know, my work."
Mhm.
But I, you know, so I
Yeah,
guess
but
that's sort of
it's,
what my website's for.
and I think it's good. It's like as a catalog of your shows over time, because like even a gallery is not going to have like all the shows I did. Like it's going to have the ones I did with them. It's not going to, I mean, it'll
Yeah,
have my CV, but it's not going to like feature. So like it's kind of a way of maintaining like a historic
yeah.
record of everything you've done, of all your shows. And I think it's good in that way. I actually spent money having people design my website when I was
Uh,
like flush with cash, like during the pandemic. So
that's a good
now it's
idea.
like, yeah, and so now it's like I can't let it it has to exist because I put something into it. Like I put money into it. So
I used to make my websites in Microsoft Word myself, which was really fun.
oh,
Oh,
that's
but I
amazing.
realized I'm going to ring my little
Yeah.
church
That's
bell.
like, yeah.
Only have a few
Time
more
to,
minutes left before we
okay.
really want to wrap up. So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about some shows that are up right now because
Yeah.
there are some incredible painting shows like Camruza Ram at Alexander
Oh, I'm
Gray.
so excited to see. Yeah.
Breaks my heart. They
Yeah.
are the most beautiful, carefully wrought, intellectually tight paintings. It makes me want to actually throw in the brush because I'm like, figured it out. He's done it
Yeah.
all. I'm
He's so
done.
good. Yeah.
Um, Same with Cindy Danielle at Only Gleason.
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah. Me
giant
too.
Denali painting
Yeah.
makes me just want to be like, what?
Yeah.
How? I don't have time to be that ambitious. I got to teach these classes. I got to take care of my elderly parents. I like, how does she do all that?
Yeah.
I know she also has a shit ton of responsibilities, but like how she can
Yeah.
do the kind of mega work that she does blows my mind.
Oh, she's
Melissa Brown at Derek
yeah.
Eller. She's a colleague of
Yeah.
mine at Lehman College. That show,
Mhm.
like, so
Wow.
good. Holly
So good.
Coolis at Klaus. Holly's
Oh,
like
cool.
fantastic
Yeah.
and always doing amazing painting. I mean, there's actually a lot of painting going on in New York right now. Have you seen anything or anything popping into your mind?
I haven't since we last talked. Well, this week I didn't go into the city, but I'm going to next week because I want to see. I'm going to see those shows that you're talking about, but also want to see Vaginal Davis at PS1, which is closing soon, and at Sculpture Center, Pat Olusco. I'm like I
Ah,
never said her name aloud.
right. She had a great show at David Peter Francis like a year ago, which was really cool.
Oh, really? She's the costumer, performance artist.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Wild.
Um, what?
I haven't seen that show at the Sculpture Center, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen
there
the
are a
show
lot
at
of
the Sculpture Center, but I would like to see that.
there are a lot of inflatables and so sort of like the sculptural feminist yeah, side of yeah, those are the two that I want to go to Long Island City and like check out those shows. That's my plan. But painting wise, yeah. I mean, the last show I saw was the Kasama show. Wait,
Oh,
not Kasama. Like, no, 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 no.
yeah.
Not Kasama.
I really want
What's
to see the
the
Jasper John show at
oh, the
Gagosian.
Jasper John show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's gonna be
I'm
amazing.
such a
Jasper John.
big Jasper John inspiration fan.
Me too. I mean, yeah. I think that's we should go to that together. Like I feel like, yeah.
That would be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun to sort of
Yeah.
report back from Gagosian. Actually,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it because I went to Gagosian in Chelsea and I was like, I'm here to see the Jasper John show. And they were like, that's uptown. And I was like, I thought your
Oh,
uptown space closed. And they were like, this is the last show there.
oh,
So now I have to
wow. That's
go.
so
But with the
interesting.
snowstorm, who knows what, I'm going to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
and remember you and I went to see the opening of Bryce Kroll's show at Parent
Oh
Company? That
yeah.
got a New York Times review this week.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Bryce Kroll, right? At Parent
Yeah.
Company. Yeah, yeah,
I wanted
yeah.
to congratulate him on that because
Yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
really cool.
And, there's just lot going on.
Mhm.
I feel like, the snowstorm is going to slow us down,
Mhm.
but hopefully it's a February snowstorm. So it'll get warm and it will melt so we can all get back
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, totally. Well, cool. Well, we're kind of close to the end. Was there anything else? I think did we have some other hot button
I mean,
topic?
there was some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I feel
Mhm.
like we
We
can
don't have
save that.
time to like,
I think we
yeah,
hit up a lot of good stuff
yeah,
in and I look forward to possibly, seeing what comes down the pike next to talk about. Who knows?
yeah. Like who I know. Yeah, what we're gonna, yeah. Oh my God, now I'm seeing this is what I'm doing. I'm just filling, I'm just being like,
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. I think
What
that,
are,
like,
yeah. What are your plans? Well, it's Sunday. So what are your plans for the weekend?
well, I'm
Clean up the
gonna
snow.
probably
See?
snow shoveling a lot and maybe
Yeah.
skiing
Yeah.
after if
Okay.
but this is not good skiing snow because it's not sort of
Oh,
cold
yeah.
powder. It's like wet
Yeah, yeah,
slushy kind of
yeah,
stuff. So the skiing is going to be kind of crappy, but
yeah.
I'm more concerned about like the parking in the city when I go back to
Oh, right,
the
right. Oh,
village with my car. It's like parking in the East Village in the snow is like has
hell,
been
yeah.
absolutely impossible. It's
Oh my
been crazy.
God, what a nightmare. Yeah, I can imagine. It's
We
already
shall.
really hard.
All
What?
right. We'll see. There, I'm ringing my bell
I
again.
wanted to say, I love the piece behind you.
Oh,
The
with Boy
yeah,
George peeking out of a
yeah,
book.
yeah. I love that. When is that from?
Just recently. That's a pretty
Yeah.
new.
Oh, it's so good. I want to see it closer. We,
Oh, it's got a lot of texture and pasto, and it's got
yeah.
a lot going on in it.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, this behind me, by the way, is Jameson Brasso. Somebody had commented on that. That's an R2 D2, and then there's also like a stormtrooper up here because
Art.
this whole setup is actually, the love of my life's podcasting rig. And even though I look like, I'm in the gaming chair here, this is Keith's. Our
Right, you're
producer,
not the podcast
actually,
pro. Your husband is the podcast
my
pro.
husband. Shout out to Keith, our producer. Thank you, Keith. Yeah,
All
okay.
right,
Bye,
Gina. Well,
Tim.
I'll see you either out in the wild or on the pod the next
Yeah.
time.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Oh.